What's up everybody, Stone from Stick on the Ice and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my first ever rebuild, and I don't think there's any other team to do it with than the Edmonton Oilers. Now keep in mind, I recorded the entire rebuild for this video before they went on their 3-game win streak, and before they signed Evander Kane. So Edmonton decided to make a bunch of great moves right after I made the rebuild. Who would have thought? Now there's 3 things we gotta do to turn this team around. 1, we gotta fix the bottom 6, because it looks horrible. When you're paying Zach Kassian $3 million to get you like 20 points, you're in trouble. The next thing we gotta do is fix our defense and get rid of all the bad contracts. I don't know why Ken Holland brought in Duncan Keith and Cody Ceci, but we're shipping them out immediately. I'm not paying these guys a combined like $9 million to do nothing. And then the third thing we gotta do, which is probably the most obvious, is get a goaltender. I'm not relying on a 40-year-old Mike Smith to carry us. So like I said earlier, Cody Ceci and Duncan Keith, they're out of here, and I'm going to send them to Ottawa for a 3rd and 4th rounder. I don't know who Cody Ceci's agent is, but I want him, because there's no way he should have got that long of a contract for that amount of money. I respect the hustle though, he got the bag. I also wanted to mention this is a 3-year rebuild, so all the young players that we're going to be drafting or currently have are no use to us, so we're shipping them out to win a chip. So a guy like Xavier Bourgault, I have no use for him on this team, so I'm going to trade him to pick up Ryan Suter. He's going to be a massive help for our currently very weak defense, and he's definitely an upgrade from either Keith or Ceci. The next thing I gotta do is fix the bottom 6, so we're gonna target Jeff Carter and Evan Rodriguez. So the trade I'm sending to Pittsburgh involves a prospect and a 6th rounder for Rodriguez and Jeff Carter. Jeff Carter is gonna be a guy I'll sign for like $2 million in the offseason, and then he'll be a massive help for the bottom 6. Rodriguez, on the other hand, depends on how much he asks. I might keep him around, but I also might not. So the defense isn't done yet. I don't want to take on Oscar Klefbom's $4 million contract, so I'm going to send him a 4th, Broberg, and a 2nd to Dallas for John Klingberg. But since I'm trading for John Klingberg, I don't plan on just keeping him around for this season. I'm going to offer him a contract extension for $5.5 million a year for the next 6 years. Keep in mind, that's only $100K more than Keith's contract, and Klingberg is going to provide way more to this team. I'm also going to offer an extension to Puljujarvi for $5.5 million a year. My thought process in this move is he's going to continue to perform even better, so instead of paying him in the offseason where he would want $7 million, I'll give him $5.5 now, and this will end up being a great contract for us. I'm also going to offer Jeff Carter $2.2 million for the next 2 years. As I said earlier, he'll be a great piece for the bottom 6, and he'll be just a good depth guy. So now that we got Jeff Carter, I have no need for Zach Kassian, especially with this $3 million cap hit, so I'm sending him to Boston to acquire a 5th and 7th rounder. So the team depth looks a lot better with the acquisition of Jeff Carter and Rodriguez, but we also need to address the left D for the 3rd pairing. It's not looking too good. And for goaltending, I'm waiting till the offseason, because I know there's a bunch of goaltenders that are becoming free agents, and we'll pick one of them up then. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate 10 games into the season, and then we'll evaluate where we're at. And during this time, Puljujarvi is accepting his contract extension, so is Klingberg and Jeff Carter. So to begin the year, we're starting off 6-3-1, which is actually kind of where I thought we would be. I actually thought we might be 500, but we're a game above 500, so I'll take it. Over the next 10 games, we would go 4-6, sitting us at 10-9-1. So we're at the 500 mark, kind of where I expected. So I'm going to go simulate to the 50 game mark, and then we'll see where this team is at and how everyone's performing. So after 50 games, this team's doing way better than I thought with a 31-18-1 record, which is good enough for 2nd in the division. Honestly, with all the moves I made, I thought I made this team worse. That was kind of the plan. I was going to kind of suck this season, and then over the next 2, I would build it up through free agency and trading draft picks. And not only are we 2nd in our division, but we're 4th in the league. Maybe I should consider competing for a cup this year. The only thing is I don't want to rush the process. Currently leading the team in points is Leon Draisaitl with 37 goals and 25 helpers for 62 points. Coming in 2nd right behind him is Connor McDavid with 29 goals and 28 assists for 57 points. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is going to round out the top 3 with 12 goals and 32 helpers for 44 points. Mike Smith's performing much better than I thought for a 40-year-old. He's 29-16-1 currently with a .912 save percentage and a .275 goals against. I also want to mention, I've seen a lot of comments saying I should up the scoring, so I've turned shot frequency up to high, and I've turned scoring frequency up to high as well. So I'm going to simulate up to the trade deadline, and depending on how this team does over the next how many games, that'll decide if we're going to compete for a cup, or if we're just going to wait for the next season. So heading into the trade deadline, Edmonton went 6-5-1 over the last 12. So I don't think we can compete for a cup yet, so I don't want to go all in. So I'm not going to make any trades here, and we're just going to roll with the team we have. I'm more focused on next season and the season after that. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate till the end of the year and see where we finish. Yeah, So we finished first in the Pacific with a 48-30-4 record. We also finished 7th overall. Maybe we should have went for that cup. I'm starting to regret my decision now. McDavid finished the season leading the team in points with 48 goals and 43 assists for 91 points. Right behind him was Draisaitl with 46 goals and 40 helpers for 86 points, and rounding out the top 3 is going to be Nugent Hopkins with 72 points. Tyson Barrie did a great job leading the defense, picking up 8 goals and 57 helpers for 61 points. And then I don't know why this happened, but 40-year-old Mike Smith played 73 games while picking up 43 wins with a .909 save percentage and a .294 goals against. The thing I can't get past is, why is a 40-year-old Mike Smith playing 73 games? I get our only other options Koskinen, but like, my god, you could give the guy some breaks. So leading the entire league in scoring is going to be Brad Marchand with 53 goals and 58 assists for 111 points. Coming in second is Bergeron with 31 goals and 79 helpers for 110 points, and rounding out the top 3 is going to be Sidney Crosby with 109 points. And the biggest surprise of this year was Tyler Seguin returning to his old form, picking up 50 goals and 56 helpers. I definitely wasn't expecting that. And looking at the top goaltenders, Thatcher Demko was tied with Mike Smith in most wins with 43. Who would have thought? To be fair though, Mike Smith also did play 73 games, so you'd hope he'd be near the top in wins. So with the fantastic season Edmonton had and securing the top spot in the Pacific Division, they're going to be taking on the Winnipeg Jets, who finished as a wildcard team. Edmonton would have no problem with the Jets, but in the second round they were taking on the Vancouver Canucks. In 7 games, Vancouver would take down the Oilers, and they would go on to beat Tampa Bay in the Stanley Cup final. The Vancouver Canucks, Stanley Cup champions. Who would have thought? Because I definitely wouldn't have thought that. McDavid led the Oilers in the playoffs, picking up 12 points, while Evan Rodriguez finished with 10 points after being acquired earlier in the year. Alright, hold on. We got to address this. Buffalo got so incredibly lucky here. Since Vegas sucked and you can't have any conditional picks in NHL 22, the top 10 protection on Vegas's pick that was involved in the Jack Eichel trade didn't have any protection. So when Buffalo got that pick and Vegas sucked, they got the second pick because of it. This is stupid. Why doesn't EA have protection on their picks? I assume it would be something easy to put in, but geez, come on. So the draft was pretty boring, seeing as none of these guys are actually going to make our roster and we'll be trading them all away. But the best player we selected had a medium top 4D potential. Everyone else we got was somewhere between bottom 6 forward and top 6D. So I'm not focused too much on RFAs, but there is one guy I want to keep around, which is Yamamoto. So I'm going to qualify him as an RFA, and then I'll offer him a contract for just under 1.9 million per year for 2 years. I'll qualify a few more RFAs and then sign a couple rookies, but we'll trade them in the future, so it doesn't matter too much. And everyone we ended up sending offers to signed with us. So before we go into free agency, I want to make a blockbuster move. So Darnell Nurse to St. Louis. Now the reason I'm doing this is Darnell Nurse is getting paid $9.5 million. I think if we can sign a guy like Hampus Lindholm for $6 million, he can do the same amount of production for like $3 million less. We also need forward depth, so I'm going to be sending a package of Darnell Nurse, Benson, a first and a second to St. Louis for Buchnevich, Jordan Kyrou, and Robert Thomas. I probably would have gotten away with sending them 2 seconds, but who cares? Not only did we fix the forward depth, but we actually picked up some really good players. And as I was saying earlier, we got to find a replacement for Nurse, so I'm going to offer Hampus Lindholm a 5-year contract worth $5.65 million per year to replace him. But we do need a bit of cap space because there's some more moves that need to be made, so we're going to trade Warren Foegele just to clear up space. And now we're going to do whatever possible to sign Fleury because we need a goaltender. So Mike Smith, thank you for carrying this team last season, but we have no need for you anymore. So I'm shipping you out for cap space. Now looking back on this move, it's a bit questionable, but I'm going to stand by it. I'm going to trade away Zach Hyman for cap reasons, and we also have Buchnevich, who's basically going to take his place. So Fleury, we're going to offer you $4.5 million a year for the next 2 seasons. It might be a bit much, but we need a goalie and we're desperate. And after contracts were evaluated, we're picking up both Hampus Lindholm and Marc-Andre Fleury to the team. I would also send offers to Riley Smith, Jason Spezza, and Nichushkin, but none of them would sign with the team. But we would pick up Ville Husso to be our backup. Now that we have a majority of our core heading into next season, it's time to extend some contracts. I'm giving Jordan Kyrou $5.3 million per year for the next 4 years. Thomas, I'm going to give him $4.2 for the next 4 years. And Bouchard, I'm going to give him the exact same contract as Thomas. I want to sign all these guys before this upcoming season because I know they'll have a breakout year, and then next season they'll be wanting like 6 or 7. So looking at our forward depth, it's looking way better. Like, it's a massive step up from last season. The left demon on the third pairing still needs to be addressed, and we'll see what this team looks like without Nurse, and I'm just hoping Fleury can hold up for the next 2 seasons. Also, if you made it this far into the video and you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be dropping a lot of videos similar to this, so make sure you subscribe and turn the bell on so you can be notified of when I upload. So I'm going to go ahead and simulate 10 games in. We'll see who signs with the team and what we look like. Robert Thomas and Evan Bouchard are both going to sign to the team, but we ran out of money when it came to signing Jordan Kyrou. So he might be a guy that we address in the offseason. Preferably, I'd rather have it done before then, just because I know he'll be asking for a lot more. So after 10 games in, we're not looking too great. We're 4-5-1 and definitely a disappointment. Like, I was thinking we would do much better, but we would do much better over the next 12 games as we would go 8-4, getting us above 500. So I'm going to simulate to about the 50 game mark and we'll reevaluate where everything is. So things aren't looking too bad with the Oilers. We're 28-21-2. We definitely could be a lot better, but we also could be a lot worse. Looking at the team scoring, McDavid's got 29 goals and 24 assists for 53 points. Draisaitl's coming in second with 20 goals, 33 helpers and 53 points, and Klingenberg's going to round out the top 3 with 13 goals, 30 assists and 43 points. But the one guy I think has been a huge disappointment so far is Robert Thomas. I was thinking he was going to take that next step and be absolutely fantastic for us. So far that hasn't happened. So I'm going to simulate up to the trade deadline, and depending on how things go, I think some trades are going to have to be made because we're ready to compete for a championship now. Heading into the trade deadline, Edmonton went 7-6, so moves have to be made. And the first move has us sending 2 second rounders to Seattle for Jonas Donskoi. Another trade that we're making involves Ryan Graves for a third and a prospect. We really need some help on the third D-line pairing, especially on the left side. Now this next trade, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I traded for Ryan Getzlaf. I don't know what I was doing, but this was just a horrible trade. I don't have anything else to say. So after those 3 trades, I think our team's looking pretty decent. The forward depth's looking good, the defense has improved with Ryan Graves, and I know Fleury can win when it matters most. I also want to mention I didn't even put Ryan Getzlaf in the lineup, so that was possibly one of the stupidest trades I've ever done in my life. So I'm going to simulate to the end of the year, and hopefully this team does a lot better. And we did way better, finishing with a 47-32-3 record, and we went 12-5-1 after the trade deadline. So I guess those pickups helped a ton. Along with finishing 3rd in the Pacific, we're also finishing 7th in the entire league. It's actually not too bad for us. Draisaitl's leading the team in points with 34 goals and 56 helpers for 90 points. Coming in second is Connor McDavid with 45 goals, 35 assists and 80 points, and then Buchnevich is going to round out the top 3 with 19 goals, 55 assists and 74 points. Helping lead our defense was John Klingberg, who's picking up 18 goals and 40 helpers for 58 points, and Fleury's going to lead the team with 40 wins and a 918 save percentage and a 256 goals against. This man was dominating this year. This was an amazing pickup for us. Leading the league in points is Alex DeBrincat, who went absolutely nuts, picking up 61 goals and 63 assists for 124 points. That's absolutely insane. Patrick Kane's finishing second with 49 goals, 72 helpers and 121 points, and Bergeron, who's getting up there in age, is still dominating the league with 22 goals and 91 assists for 113 points. Thatcher Demko is going to lead the league in wins once again with 43, with a 908 save percentage and a 296 goals against. And Edmonton's looking to get some revenge for last year's loss to Vancouver as we're taking them on in the first round, and we're up 2-0 in the series. We got this in the bag, right? There's no way we screw this up, right? We're a dominant team, we should win, right? Yeah, we just blew a 2-0 lead to Vancouver. In the season where we had cup aspirations, we blew a 2-0 series lead. You hate to see it, you really do. Buchnevich is leading the team in playoff points with 1 goal and 7 assists, but who cares? We blew a 2-0 lead, like what's going on here? So entering the draft, we had way more picks than I thought we did. But before we get to drafting players, we gotta trade Robert Thomas. I was expecting a lot more from this guy, and he just underperformed like crazy. Honestly, that was very surprising to me. I thought he would do much better. Nothing exciting happened in the draft. We got a top 6 forward potential player and a top 4 D potential player. So in a riskier move, we're going to be sending Jeff Carter to Calgary for Mangiapane in a 4th. I'm just hoping Mangiapane isn't going to ask for too much, and we'll be able to get him at a contract worth about $5 million. And as long as he produces, the trade will definitely be worth it. So since Jordan Kyrou didn't accept his extension last year, we're going to have to pay him this season, and we're having to pay him $6.1 million per year for 4 years. Looking back on this, I probably should have just traded someone away to clear up the cap space for him. Mangiapane is going to be asking for a lot though, as he's asking for $7.825 million per year for 3 years. I'm going to give it to him because we could use the forward help, and if he does produce, this contract will definitely be worth it. So Mangiapane is going to sign, but we're going to have no room for Jordan Kyrou, but I'm going to work around that as I'm offering Kyrou $5.8 million for 4 years, and Kyrou's going to accept the contract. Welcome back to the team, my guy. With all the $4 and $5 million contracts on this team, we don't have a bunch of spare money to sign players, so we signed a bunch of 79, 80 overall players to play on the 4th line. So looking at this team, you might say we're worse, but I have faith in the core. I know we can compete with some of the best teams in the league, and I know for a fact Fleury can play to his potential, and we have a great team here. So after the first 10 games, things didn't look great. We were 6-4 and definitely underperforming, but we wouldn't underperform after the next 14, as we would go 11-3. The team's finally taking their strides in the right direction, and that's going to be shown after 52 games, as this team was 34-16-2. Not only were we first in the Pacific Division, but we're also third in the entire league. And leading us to that record is going to be Leon Draisaitl, who's picking up 36 goals and 40 assists for 76 points. Right behind him was Connor McDavid with 32 goals and 39 assists for 71 points, and the great pickup of Pavel Buchnevich is looking amazing as he's got 16 goals and 48 helpers for 64 points. Fleury's looking alright, like he's picked us up 27 wins, but that .896 save percentage and the .320 goals against is a bit concerning for me. So Fleury, I want to thank you for everything you've done, but we gotta trade you. So I'm going to be trading Marc-Andre Fleury for Frederik Andersen in a 4th. Now the only reason I'm doing this is Frederik Andersen is 2 overalls higher. I'm just assuming that's going to be better for us. It's a bit of a risk, but I think it'll help. So Edmonton's looking fantastic currently. They got a 43-16-5 record entering the trade deadline, but I feel like a few moves have to be made. Bouchard, you've been great for us, but you haven't progressed at the speed I've wanted you to, so I'm going to be sending you away with a 4th for Josh Manson. Mangiapane's another guy that just hasn't performed, so I'm going to send him away and a 2nd for Alex Wenberg. So we're going to make one more move to improve the forward depth, and that's going to involve sending a prospect and 2/3 for Marcus Foligno. With all the moves we've made, the forward depth looks amazing, the defense looks great, and our goaltending is great. So we should be great, right? Well, that's not really what happened. All those moves backfired on us big time. We went 5-12-1 in our next 18 games. We ended up losing our top spot in the division, and we finished 2nd and 6th in the league. Yeah, I'm a bit concerned now. We kind of fell off. Draisaitl was great once again with 51 goals and 63 helpers for 114 points. McDavid's finishing 2nd with 55 goals and 56 helpers for 111 points, while Buchnevich is coming in 3rd with 23 goals, 72 helpers for 95 points. Tyson Barrie did a great job leading the defense with 9 goals and 55 helpers for 64 points. And Frederik Andersen, I don't really know how good he was. He was 31-28-7, but if we went 5-12-1 in our last 18, I don't think he won too many games with us. Leading the entire league in points is going to be Patrick Laine with 59 goals and 61 assists for 120 points. Austin Matthews is coming in 2nd with 66 goals and 52 helpers for 118 points. And Mitch Marner is going to come in 3rd with 33 goals and 82 helpers for 115 points. Peter Mrazek was unstoppable this season, and he's leading the entire league in wins with 51. So after dropping out of 1st in the division, we're going to end up taking on our rivals, the Los Angeles Kings, in the 1st round. Los Angeles is going to be no problem for us. We're sweeping them in 4 games, and now we're taking on Vegas. And Vegas would also be no problem for us. We're sweeping them as well, and we're taking Chicago on in the conference finals. Maybe we do have a shot here. And heading into the Stanley Cup final, Edmonton's 12-1 after taking down Chicago in 5 games. Only Washington stands in their way, and I don't think anyone can stop them. Edmonton's rolling right now. Okay, maybe we can get stopped. We got smoked in game 1, but Edmonton bounced back big time. We're up 3-1 in the series, and I think you know what's coming next. With time winding down in game 5, the Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions, doing the impossible, going from an underperforming team to Stanley Cup champs. Who would have thought? And when it came to the Conn Smythe, the guy winning it is someone I don't think anyone would have expected. Jordan Kyrou is our Conn Smythe winner. It looks like that Darnell Nurse trade actually worked out pretty well for us. Who would have thought? The Edmonton Oilers, Stanley Cup champions in 3 years. Maybe they gotta hire me as their new GM, because I'm making moves out here. So taking a look at the entire playoff picture, we went 16-2 in the playoffs. Absolutely fantastic. I can't believe we went 16-2 in the playoffs, but our last 18 games heading into the playoffs, we went 5-12-1. I guess that's just how things work. So Kyrou was great. We already know. 5 goals, 19 assists for 24 points in 18 games. McDavid was fantastic. 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. Buchnevich, he's picking up 20 as well. And Freddie, he just carried the way for us. A .928 save percentage and a .219 goals against average. We wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So just like that, the Edmonton Oilers rebuild has come to an end. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I definitely recommend checking the one out on screen. And if you haven't already, make sure to drop a like and subscribe.